full one or not, if this is the full version or not, but one more fun game before I cave and play Dwarf Fortress. Times on board recruits. They had no need for society. They did often find themselves home to a loneliness they could never quite shake. In the morning, the sun would rise. At night, when sad, the recluse would observe the splendor, knowing that the sight would be made all the more beautiful by having someone to share it with. It wasn't that they desired a relationship. Perhaps it was a flame that had burned them one too many times. Perhaps they were disinterested. No, a child, that's what they wanted. Someone to take care of, to teach. Fortunately, there was a longing that could not be found, not in these woods alone. However, we are never quite as alone as we think, are we? One day a witch appeared, as if drawn by the intensity of the recluse's desire. Remember, the recluses spent the morning gatherings that feed their hands. They spotted her, witch of the woods. She began to speak. Desire a child, yes. For some, those are quite easy to come by. Not you, it would seem. Let's make a deal then. If you choose 3 simple choices from me, I will present you the daughter of your very own. Recluse, caught up in naivety. He quickly agreed. The witch, knowing that the recluse was destined to accept, simply nodded and began to deliver the first of these so-called chores without hesitation. There have been some activities I've been meaning to get to. Perhaps you could make yourself useful and cross one off the list for me. Not realizing they were simply saving the witch some time. Recluse determined which task they were most suited for. Organized a surprisingly understated collection of sweet keepsakes. Neutralized from most dangerously volatile gens. Restock a selection of unsettling components. Let's see what a witch's most prized personal possessions look like. It's not like they would ever get this chance again, after all. The recluse spent a quiet afternoon carefully unpacking and rearranging her belongings, silently speculating to themselves about what sort of life this witch has led. Driving back to their meeting point, the recluse was excited to report their progress to the witch. Ah, very good. How kind of you. Quickly wiping themselves down, the recluse returned to their hut the remainder of the night. The recluse slept more soundly that night than they had in ages. Having a purpose again soothed them, even if they had found themselves caught up with a witch. They elected not to think about that now. Instead, when the morning came, they simply did what they had to do, which is to say, they got up and went to meet with the witch. Upon watching the recluse's approach, a sardonic smile lit the witch's face. You completed your first task admirably. 2 more and I can finally give you what you want. She paused for only a moment before delivering her next message of import. It's important for a young person to be well-grounded in this world, I hear. Bring me a jar of soil to help with this process. Keep in mind that not all dirt is the same, though. Consider the source carefully. Soil? That did sound somewhat magical, the recluse supposed. Left with this vague prompt, they considered their options. The Baron's thought of corpse long since struck by some invincible ailment. favorite foraging nook. The most picturesque section of forest you've ever set eyes on. I'm gonna go with the middle, I think. The nook was just on the outskirts of the forest, but conveniently hidden from curious villagers. When in need, the spot had never let the recluse down. This time was no different. His dirt was there in abundance. Riding back at their meeting place, the recluse was excited to share their selection with the witch. So that's what you picked, eh? Very well, I shall do. Feeling the need to scrub their skin, the recluse were quite tired of their help to cleanse themselves. Third day. Through silence complete, the recluse could feel their excitement grow. This witch was being honest, and for some reason they felt that she was. And this would be it could be the last night they'd spent without a shadow. They hoped so, at least. That was all that they could do. Barely remembering to get dressed, the recluse dashed to the meeting spot. Again, the witch had been waiting there for them. Welcome back, recluse. Are you prepared? Today is your big day, is it not? Last task is an easy one, or at least I believe so. Bring me something colorful, something bright that you think will suit her. When they were first told of the 3 tasks, the recluse had imagined things that were much more difficult. It seemed so easy as to be a trick, which they supposed only meant that they should take it seriously, as if a mistake could mean death. With death in mind, the recluse needed to decide where to search for color. Feel the flowers of a stony river. A stony river. Underwater was in the first place. Many people thought of the color. The recluse understood that there were many shades that people failed to consider. We arrived at a nearby river, plunging into the glassy water to spy a variety of small shining stones. One was a bloody stone, just like a simple yet sturdy gray stone. Turquoise, prized symbol of luck and fortune, obsidian. Dark glassy ghosts of ancient fires, jasper, nature's deep brown canvas, turquoise, some of the colorful one. The hue of a chunk of turquoise caught the recluse's eye, beckoning their hand. The stone presented itself like the sky, like the waters of a purity never seen, stone in hand, to return to the witch, captivated by nature's beauty. The recluse returned to the witch's hut, colored item in hand. She silently took off, nodding her head to the recluse in recognition. He stood there for a moment, unsure, but finally the witch realized what they expected. Oh, you want your promised honor, don't you? Her voice was almost mocking, but at least it was not overly cruel. I suppose I must tell you that I lied, human. I do require several more trifling things from you. First is a matter of payment. Recluse should have known that everything is for our cost. Pay me now with wealth. Pay me now with life. Pay me sometime soon in larger quantities. Pay me at a much later date, in the way I choose. Life. Told the witch that they would offer life as payment. Certainly, stepping forward, she took them in a cold yet not unkind embrace. They woke hours later with an uneasy feeling that something was missing. The witch was still there, waiting for the recluse. The payment settled. The witch simply smiled and handed the recluse a small pot. Humans are tricky, but mushrooms are much more resilient. Consider this an upgrade. Don't worry, eventually she will develop a mind. So give her time, as much as she needs. Soon your wish will be in full bloom. It's suppose that with all that settled, though, there's one thing for you to consider. Young girl needs a proper name. Recluse thought on the witch's demand before offering the final thing they had to give. Shumesh? It seems silly. Mushroom Girl Raising Simulator? Apparently. She walked away, only fate knowing that you should ever meet again. Chapter 2, Cultivation. The recluse was unsure of the specifics. They did realize that it was important to heed her instructions, care for the pot and the dirt and everything that lay within. So the recluse geared up as any parent should and access the things they needed to raise a child. Finances in case the nearby village had goods or services that you could not provide. Nutrients for the child to help it grow strong. There would be plenty because it would be depleted on a daily basis. And finally, the recluse's own stamina cannot be ignored. One cannot burn the candle from both ends indefinitely. Thus began the longest growing season of the recluse's life. Recently, you began to think about your daughter's living quarters, specifically her pot. Use the soil with a drop of your own blood. Use your cooking scraps as compost. Buy some plants as substrate from town. Ensure that her soil remains damp. Decorate the pot. I don't think I can do the first one with the stamina I have. Notice that she has a tendency to dry out over time. Obviously, that is the nature of such things, but you want to keep her as comfortable as you can manage. You assume that's what she wants after all. It's what you would want if you were a mushroom. The forest has many supplies for those who can see them. You spent an afternoon gathering moss, peat, and other fun little things. In return, you'll carefully take her out of the pot and resituate the soil. If she can't thank you, I hope she appreciates it nonetheless. Quality of life having been improved, life continued. You haven't been taking very good care of yourself, and you find yourself so worn out that even leaving the house is a challenge. If you continue on without regard for your own stamina, you might very well die. Isn't that a day? You need the rest. Yeah. Used to your daughter in the States, and you end up resting, sitting in bed, and think about your daughter and all the tasks she'll get done tomorrow. Something's happening. Whoa. Your daughter has changed in the night. One morning you awaken with a weight on your chest and open your eyes to find a heavy mushroom sitting upon you. The creature has grown little arms and legs and demonstrates her newfound mobility by clambering off the bed as you wake. Her demeanor seems cheerful, wandering about in an excitable and inquisitive mood. daughter's development is going better than expected, and you want to promote her cheerful nature. You encourage her to appreciate beautiful things. Bring her to that flower-filled glade you once visited. Enthralled by the wondrous sights, appreciating nature quickly becomes her favorite pastime. She spends much of her time wandering outside. The decision being made, life continued. One evening, you hear a light knocking at your door. Quite a rare occurrence. Peeking through the window, you witness none other than the Witch of the Woods standing on the doorstep of your humble hut. Should she be here for a visit or to settle a debt? Introduce her to your daughter. Probably should do that rather than ask her for money. It's time for your daughter to meet the witch. She could maybe even learn a thing or two. The two of you answer the door and invite the clingy woman inside for dry and awkward small talk. Something about the way the two absently stared at each other. You wonder if they've made some sort of connection today. Decision being made. Life continued. Harsh weather has taken its toll on your garden, and your entire harvest has been lost. Weeks' worth of food and labor has been rotten and destroyed. Without immediate action, you and your daughter will be in trouble later down the line. For the garden again. Start over from seed. You use the crying of ruined crops. You simply make adjustments to garden. It will be less dry this season, but you'll live to see it. That's what matters. Decision be made. Life continues. Something's happening. Your daughter has changed in the night. One morning you notice that your daughter is nowhere to be seen. After an hour of searching the nearby area, you find her walking in a nearby meadow. To your surprise, the creature had now taken the form of a young girl. You feel relieved to confirm that the witch hadn't betrayed you. At your approach, she turns and grins at you excitedly, before continuing to appreciate her surroundings. And buy her a nice gift to celebrate. It feels like a momentous achievement, so you tell your daughter you're into the village to buy her a present. She jumps up and down excitedly, and the two of you head out to prepare for a trip into town. Daughter thoroughly enjoys sailing and lovingly clutches the stuffed toy she picked out at the market. A decision being made, life continues. It seems wholesome so far. You awaken only to discover that your daughter is covered in tiny parasitic creatures. For the sake of her health, you should probably find a way to get rid of the little pests. Fine herbal pesticides. That seems like a thing to do. Dreading the potential spread of disease, you decide to seek some strong elixirs from the local apothecary. You apply the lotion. It seems to be instantly absorbed into her skin. It lends her a healthy shimmer and exterminates the bugs. The decision being made, life continues. You've been irresponsible with your funds. No more necessary expense, and you won't have enough food to survive. You both to interact with others, but you may have to find some work in town. Suck it up and get to work. You swallow your pride, and head to the village to do manual labor. It's demeaning work, but the fruits of your labor will ensure you and your daughter will survive another day. The decision being made, life continued. And then, night, you find yourself struggling to sleep. Your mind wanders and you consider your current place in life. Live peacefully with your daughter for many years. Initially it was strange. Well, it never stopped being strange, but you were always thankful for the company. That's the affection you felt for her, was like any parent would feel towards their child. That was normal, at least. Your thoughts turned to the concept of time, particularly how you were once alone, and how afraid you are that you will be again someday. Daughter has had more and more curiosity about the outside world. It's only a matter of time before she wants to strike her own path. You will be fulfilled now. You hope you've done enough. Ultimately, you find comfort in what you've done. You may have had many failures in life. Nature prevents you recklessly sleeping in their bed, and the daughter lays in your own. However, on this night, the witch has decided to intrude. It appears that her interest is with the child. She immediately stakes her step at the spot, end of the girl's bed. Surprisingly generous. With a gentle hand, the witch reaches out to feel the child. She sees her small child and underdeveloped appearance. The poor thing, which murmurs, speaking softly enough, such as not to wake her. The human has no idea what you need to grow. Do that. Perhaps this once, just this once, I shall offer assistance. Take this gift of cheer, live, laugh, perhaps even love, in time. What writing? This gift was delivered by a simple, delicate kiss upon the forehead, which the child, like gentle good luck, before disappearing once more into the night. Telling the recluse that you wanted to see more of the world wasn't an easy conversation. As they grew older, you worried about leaving them on their own. Thankfully, your concerns were unwarranted. You were happy that you had grown enough to want to move out. They even offered to help you build your own home, close to theirs. You're welcome to visit any time, obviously. Faster than you would have anticipated, the two of you built your home together. Through all the tricks they knew, you made sure to impart as much knowledge as they could. Finally, the day arrived. You were officially on your own. You were scared a little, but also excited. It felt like a new chapter was just beginning for you. Chapter 3, a girl on her own. I'm taking a late, leisurely stroll one day. Set upon a humble shack, nestled among dense brush across a nearby river. From the hovel bounds a symphony of music reverberating off of the trees. Curiosity grabbing hold, you saunter off the beaten path, making your way to the water's edge. To your surprise, a ramshackle bridge extends across the water, and before you know it, you're face to face with the shack's rotting door. Knock on the door. You rap your knuckles on the door. After a moment, slight shuffling can be heard from inside. At length, the door opens, and you're greeted to the bewildered expression of a rather strange-looking crone. The figure is tall and looming, hunched over with a head still a solid foot above your arm. A hood veils their eyes, and where it would expose the skin, were traveled only matted whiskers, long since grayed. You notice their skin, as the crone raises a hand in greeting, gnarled and dark like the knot of a tree. As they speak, hoarsely churning out a polite hello, you catch the subtlest torrent of voices intermingled from within, like an amalgam of souls. It has been a long while since a visitor graced my doorstep. Would you like to come inside? Surely you have been drawn by the music, no? You can't say no. You really are captivated by the music. Without delay, you take the crone up on their offer and enter their home. You seem nice enough, and you get the feeling that all the apprehension built up before has melted away. Plus, the interior smells like fresh jasmine. What better way to de-stress? The crone shows you the source of the music, a strange box at the far end of the room. As they're showing off the piece, the music stops and the crone hits a small switch, shutting down the mechanisms. She hears a phonograph used for playing music off these cylinders, which fiddles with the machine, taking off a black wax cylinder. This one is part of a suite, the finale. Crone hangs their head low. Unfortunately, the rest of the suite is lost to me. Crone pauses for a moment, looks you up and down and says, but you have a draw to the music, eh? It's hard to tell. You believe a smile to have cracked somewhere beyond the mask of blisters. If that's the case, you seem able enough. I'll tell you what, if you're able to collect the other 6 parts of the suite, I'll give you the finale, as a gift. We cannot enjoy a suite without the full collection. You shrug. The offer seems straightforward enough. Without reluctance, you accept, much to the crone's satisfaction. And I would ask to read you a story, one that might help glean the location of another cylinder. Would you be interested? It is, however, quite a long story, should you wish to do other things. This is the story. Yes, the crone stoops in place across from you, resting on what you assume to be their haunches. As they open the book, you feel enraptured, engrossed, enthralled. Before you know it, the words blend into a dappling sympathesia that seemingly spirits you away to the land of story. As with many, this tale began in tragedy. An errant child, the kid was exiled from town, branded with heresy and derision. She bore no sin but that of her birth, specifically the eyes, smoldering pools of ceaseless violet. They were the same eyes as the Violet Witch, a malefactor who had been terrorizing the area for years. And as such, the kid was cast from her meager home at a young age, branded as a cursed child. She would not know peace for some time, not until her body became frail, her throat burning, her stomach gnawing. It was a reclusive figure who had at length offered her shelter, and who lived deep in the western woods. It was the first time the kid could know peace. But peace was ill-becoming of the time, and ever-fleeting. Despite the loving care bestowed upon her by her guardian, she could not stay. Fire came in the night. At first, it was deemed an accident, happenstance, but the attacks became emboldened, frequent. As long as the Violet Witch roamed the land, the kid would know no sanctuary, for she could only bring pain to those who would suffer for comfort. And so, after a heated argument with her guardian, she forced herself to leave, lest they be caught up in the madness. Kid set off without preparation, carrying with her only a smolder of conviction. Nevertheless, she was savvy, complete with a few well-honed skills needed for survival. It wasn't long before she was well away from home, out beyond the threshold where the familiar woods fell away shadowy hinterlands. Now, according to the rumors of the Violet Witch, her manse would be less than a day's travel southwest, and as it were, there were about 3 ways to go about heading there. The Galdrias Highway, which the kid had been taking, dilapidated as it was, the old growth of forest as unwelcoming as it seemed, or the gentle riverbank. To avoid any trouble, he decided the easiest route was to follow the river, allowed for more light than the alternatives, with her being able to see quite well in the gloom. So well, in fact, that she spotted a glint of moonlight on the bank of the river, reflecting off a piece of what appeared to be jewelry. Upon further inspection, seemed to be a talisman fashioned in the shape of a circle of fairies. Holding it made the kid feel something deep within their soul. The catharsis soon swiftly fled. Before long, the talisman seemed like nothing more than a hunk of metal. Regardless, the kid stashed it safely on their person. After a while, the manse crested over a neighboring hill. She was just beside the property, as it was. Though, she thought about for a moment, there was still not enough twilight to search around nearby. Or there was still enough twilight to search around nearby. Of course, it may not be worth it. Doubling back for a bit, the kid decided to check out the old grove. The dark herring woods didn't go for long before a glint caught her eye. And there, buried in the trunk of a moss-covered tree, a knife stuck out, and from where the blade cut into the bark, opalescent buds sprung forth. The kid, needing supplies, wrenched the blade from its resting place and hooked it firmly above her waist. Pleased with her find, the kid returned to the manse and found its front door to be unlocked. Feeling her stomach sink, the kid steeled her nerves and pushed onward. The Violet Witch's manse was regal though disheveled. It didn't appear as though anyone had been home for some time, even if there was a distinct lack of dust on all the surfaces. Very little furniture decorated the vaulted foyer. Exits on either side led to the library and the dining hall, while a spiraling staircase led into the darkness overhead. The portrait of the lady of the house hung menacingly in the corner of the room. Taller and wider than a full-grown adult, her eyes pierced the kid's soul. Cut the painting. The knife thrust their knife into a subjectively derivative piece of art and rent the canvas away from the wall. To their surprise, a fortified door with a magical seal preventing passage lay just beyond. Upon further inspection, the seal seemed to unlock the spoken password. With last spellcraft, threw into the letters. A little creative tinkering. The kid changed the sign to read, "All life steal." We'll go on to the library. A vibrant carpet and luscious scarlet drapes helped to pull together a warm, rich environment within the hardy library. The room stretched up far above, concealing into darkness just beyond a mezzanine. The dining hall was modest and cozy, though elaborate enough to default it as a place of sophisticated living. Tall windows lined the wall, looking out into an inky night, offering views for every seat along the extended table traveling the length of the room. On the wall, a portrait of a woman sat crooked, and around the corner, a hearth sat blazing beneath the bust of a stuffed boar. In the shadowy corner, a door led surreptitiously into the kitchen. Entered the kitchen and found little of interest. Random cutlery and the lingering smell of stale grease littered the room, often attached to some counters along the real side of the hearth, crowded around the far side of the room near a door leading into the pantry. The door to the pantry was locked. The kids found themselves in a, might I say, dramatically lit hallway with talking candelabras, stained glass, the works. The hallway led on two ways, downstairs back to the foyer, into the manse's bedroom, the opposite end. The kid studied the portrait in the hallway. It was of a familiar-looking woman, caught frozen in an expression of surprise, as though she had not expected an acknowledgement. The door appears to be locked. Pitiful, woeful thing. The kid's first thought upon it seemed such a sad remark. To believe it had been to be desiccated. Perhaps she was right. You did clockwork, soldier. Actually carrying on his duty without complaint. Something sinister emanated from it. And the kid felt a tinge of fear. The hands neared midnight. Wait until midnight. In the foyer, the kid felt a horrid chill in the air. Suddenly, she came face to face with the shade of the manse's matron. Though a formidable opponent, it was nothing more than the poor witch's memories made manifest. No time to think. The shade saw the kid as an intruder and intended to make the consequences known. The kid had no intention of going down without a fight. The kid briefly thought about what to use against the shade, pulling out the budding knife for the power of collateral damage. The kid stabbed the shade with her budding knife, searing it with magic and eliciting pain from the creature. Its eyes catching the ridiculous rearrangement of the unwelcome sign. The shade stuck for a moment in confusion. The kid wasn't about to let the opportunity pass her by. The kid thought briefly about what to use against the shade, pulling out a budding knife. The kid stabbed the shade with her budding knife, searing with magic and eliciting pain from the creature. The shade initiated its share of the combat by reaching high, striking down with an incredible claw attack. The passion of the fight had been ignited, the dance was afoot. The shade hits, being a miserable claw at the kid, connecting somewhat. There's no other path to the kid. Only fate can describe the outcome. Managed the shade's treat flat as it could, damaging the very psyche of the kid. When battered and bruised, there was no stopping the kid from the quest for conviction. The kid stabbed the shade with her budding knife, stirring it with magic and eliciting pain from the creature. Shade shrieked and moaned as the magic comprising it fitted away. All that was left in that mess was a kid. Kid and a bone of unanswered questions, leaving left with a clue for her was a small, precious stone fragment left behind by the shade. And as the kid scooped it in her palm, the stone warmed and offered a bright and glittered a bright green before fading at length into sunburn. Regardless, the kid understood it was only the beginning of the journey. Such was the kid forced to come to terms with many a disquieting thought upon that return trip home. Dozens of woes, a bitter litany of sorrows, but only one truth that struck her. Perhaps those who rallied against her, in fact, did so with cause. The kid would return victorious indeed, but some believe her to have gone further, to do many a great deed. Alas, that is all for now. Time has slipped away from us, as it seems. You'd best hurry up on home now, before the dark settles. Colonel leans in, uncomfortably close. You wouldn't want to run into the Violet Witch, now would you? She asked with a cackle. Taking his advice, return home, head filled with thoughts of the kid. You wake one night to the light of a full moon and the eerie sound of singing. If your body isn't your own, the cold night air is drawn over your flesh upon leaving the house. And just outside you see a group of tiny fairies are dancing and singing inside a ring of sprouted mushrooms. One of them spots you watching and motions you closer. Nope. The nope card. Go forward and play with the fairies. Their song and dance pulls you in, and soon you're fully entranced. Reveled in one great. As time moves forward, so you. Fairies guide deep into the woods, and you wonder if you're going somewhere secretly. One of the fairies makes an odd noise, then they all scatter, leaving behind faint trails of lights, echoes of tiny laughter. The little fae have left you in the middle of the woods, and you spend the rest of your night finding your way home. It's a knock at your door. When you answer it, you see a man dressed in an elegant black suit. Are you the fungal woman of the woods? Yes, as though seeing you in the mushy flesh was not enough. My employer wishes to invite you to a small dinner gathering. She's heard much about you, and makes her guests relish the chance to actually be acquainted with you. You stand there, slightly in shock, as the man proceeds to outline the details of the event. You should arrive, what sort of the clothing you should wear. Or do you wear clothing? I'll have to double-check the dress code, etc. Finally, after handing you a small scrap of paper with elegant writing on it, and bidding you adieu, the man left your doorstep. You think about the event that's been described to you, and ultimately come to a decision. Attend the event, and simply be yourself. Figure why not? If they would like to meet you, you should be kind enough to allow that. On the day of the event, you gather yourself. You have nerves, of course. But that's only natural. You make your way to the party. When you arrive, you see dozens of people dressed in monocles and other strange clothing items that don't seem to serve any practical purpose. You're all sitting at a long rectangular table spotted with food dishes that you couldn't even begin to guess the identity of. A woman eventually greets you with an excited shriek. Oh, you're just darling, butler, please fetch a drink for our guest and have her seated. You figure that this is the host and thank her for your invitation. She moves to sit next to you at the large table, and it ends up keeping you company for the rest of the night. Over the course of the evening, she introduces you to everyone around the table. They all seem charmed by you, even if most of them are a little menistic. By the end of the party, you met a variety of humans that you doubt you'll remember the name of. You had fun doing it, and they'll certainly remember you. One day, without realizing it, you have stayed in the village much later than intended. The sun has fully set, and darkness has enveloped all. Thankfully, you're fully capable of taking care of yourself. You know the settlement well, and the lack of sun does not change that. You decide to take a shortcut through an alley, but to your surprise, there are others there as well. Quite a few others, in fact. It quickly becomes apparent to you that most of the alley's denizens are going into a single door. When open, you can hear the faint sounds of revelry and triumph through. When they go to leave, many have small trinkets that seem tired from a long night of cheering. Ooh. Steal one of these easy marks. Enter the door. Big rosy vein cap. Detail. A lot of detail to this game. Not really what I expected at all. I don't know what I expected, honestly. I'm probably gonna wrap it up in like 10 minutes. I don't know. It's weirdly wholesome. I feel like advertised as like being more of like a edgy, like monster Musume kind of vibe, but it was weirdly wholesome. I'm kind of enjoying it. It's got a lot of depth to it. Let's see what's in this building. After a while, smiling, you get the impression that people are free to enter. Your people, basically. So you figure it's safe to investigate further. As you step inside, the roar of the crowd grows in volume and clarity. It takes your eyes a second to adjust to the dim light. You move past a few tables full of merchant goods into a large room full of people. At the center of it all is an arena, topped with a fighting ring. The ring is currently in use, as two combatants circle each other. One of the fighters, a man in a crude grasshopper mask, constructed out of dyed linen and leaves. He moves with a quick, staggered step, often feinting as an opponent. His opponent, a tall figure obscured by a dark cloak, counters nimbly, keeping low. You watch as the grasshopper man grabs the cloak, using it to pull his opponent around the ring. You find yourself drawn towards the crowd. The mood of the fight is simply intoxicating. Before you know it, you're whooping and hollering with the rest. Finally, in a thrilling conclusion, the caged fighter manages to subdue the caped fighter manages to subdue the crude grasshopper. They triumphantly suplex the masked man to the joy of the crowd. Though initially slightly concerned for the man's health, you find that both fighters have support immediately afterwards. Slowly, the crowd begins to dissipate. What a thrilling event! Before you go to leave, a chubby woman wearing an elaborately decorated pair of glasses stops you. I've never seen anyone quite like you before, love. If you ever want to fight, come back here soon, anytime. I think that we could help you with something spectacular. You accept a scrap of paper the woman hands you. On it lists her name and where to find her. After giving her a quick farewell, you dash home with much to consider. You feel a crisp breeze. The heat is relenting. Trees are changing in color. Fall has arrived. Music play. Really quiet music. We're wandering the woods. You always do your best to remain vigilant to possible outside entities that you could run into. Certain animals are keen to cause problems for you, and that's not even to mention the humans. It's with this awareness that you detect a nearby being. You pause, listening to the soft sound of footsteps. Human footsteps, you suspect, but at least something vaguely human in shape. Finally, you can spot the intruder. A realization floods over you. The recluse. Perfectly them, of course. Not been invited to visit them recently, so you can consider this something of a fortunate encounter. Chores and your parent, all in one outing. Without any further hesitation, you rush over and wrap your arms around them in a greeting. Thankfully, they had time to see you coming. She exclaimed, turning the hug. What a coincident seeing you here. Two of you swap greetings, and you can't help but cry about what they're up to. Growing up, you always felt like they were doing something interesting, so why not now? The theory has proven correct. The recluse goes on to explain. As you discover, they have a bit of a deal with the leader of the nearby village. In exchange for dealing with grisly situations that the villagers could never stomach themselves, recluse gives to live in unincorporated land near the village without having to consume themselves with the minutiae of civilization. No surveys, no taxes, just what exactly is the favor they're doing? There have been some concerns among local parents, they explained. Some hooligans have been trying to kidnap children recently. It's a big problem. Hooligans shouldn't the local guardians be doing such things and not the recluse? But these hooligans are a bit rowdier than most. They live in the river, you see. Most of the guard can't be bothered to dirty their boots in such an undignified way. A bit of bitterness snuck into their voice, a rare piece of insight into their thoughts. For long, you can hear running water. The river approaches, or that is to say, you approach the river. Finally, you and the recluse stand before the water. They nod, then speak. You should be close to the base. The observation is proving correct when the sound of raucous laughter seems to bubble up from the water. The recluse drops her pack to the ground, pulls off the overflows. They retrieve a hatchet from their bag, and then turn to walk towards the water. Offer to help. Frantically call up and tell them to wait. That occurs. There's something beneath these waters that need killing. Correct, and humans are somewhat allergic to water, or something of that effect. Why should the recluse take the risk when you're standing right here? At the very least, you could bait the creatures up to land. For the recluse would surely have a much easier time doing it, please be honest. The recluse is unable to find a hole in your logic, and thus allows you to step forward into the water. You know you can't be underwater indefinitely. You get soggy, and it gets harder and harder to move. But you should have enough time and strength to get in and out without any trouble at least. Once under the water, you clearly see the dwelling with the laughter had come from. A woody den overrun with moss and small aquatic snails. You figure that the easiest way to get someone's attention is to simply knock, so you do just that. And what is only a partial surprise, it actually opens a few seconds later. Behind the door, you can make out the so-called hooligans, one at the door and two lounging in the room behind them first. They are large, green, and looking a little mean. Suppose if you had to describe them, you'd say that it looked a little like you took a turtle and forced it to be shaped like a human. There's no time to think about that. You immediately go to act out on your plan. Contort your body to make as many rude gestures as you possibly can at once. The goal is to make them live it and make them pursue you. And you found that the right formation of body parts can make that happen very quickly with some people. Thankfully, the green group takes the bait. One who opened the door has a sour look on his face and immediately thrusts his fists out in an attempt to grab you. Before you can make contact, you begin to flee back the way you came. It's a tight chase. The creature is much more suited to the water than you are, after all, but thankfully you don't have far to go before you manage to make your way back to land. When you first emerge from the water, you don't immediately see the recluse. Thankfully, after the creature comes up behind you and begins to give chase, they spring out from behind a tree and plant their hatchet directly into the back of the creature's head. The other two aren't far behind, however. Hide behind the recluse, doing your best to support them as they fight the remaining shelled creatures. It doesn't take long to dispense of one. However, the other keeps a distance. She looks from the corpse of her companions to the recluse, then to you. There's a certain look in her eyes, truthfully, haunts you a little. It's as if she's telling you you'll rue this day. When she turns to run, the recluse briefly pursues her, but finds themselves tripped up in some bramble. Damn it, they curse. I should take care of the worst of it, at least. They don't like hunting alone. Oh, at least the recluse didn't drown. That's the important part. The two of you leave each other with a particularly soggy hug as you part ways for the day. What a thrill. Sometimes hanging out with your parent can be fun. When you do murder together. The sun is low in the sky, casting a beautiful warm tint across everything that you saw. Today was a particularly beautiful sight. Blossoming fruit trees and the wind blowing through grass. Your eyes feel heavy, and suddenly you find yourself falling into a deep sleep. In your dreams, you're sitting on a tree branch. There's a flute playing somewhere, and suddenly the flute is next to you. Attached to it is the vague shape of a woman. I haven't seen you around here before. Welcome. Whenever you go to look at her, it feels like she shifts. You can't quite describe her. You probably won't remember me when you wake up, but it's nice to meet you. After sitting in the silence for a second, she starts playing again. Where do you go when I'm awake? Oh, here and there, but really, there's usually someone asleep somewhere, so I have no shortage of options. I must admit, I've not met many people like you. Perhaps I'll return someday if you'll have me. Before you have a chance to reply, your eyes are opening. It's dark out. You should be getting home. You're wandering the suburbs of the village one day when you notice an unusual sight. Before you is a collection of 5 or 6 young humans crowded together in a circle. You walk closer. You can more clearly hear the words they seem to be shouting at each other. Damn it. I should have went scroll. You should always go scroll against you. Scrolls are these people's scholars. When you take a closer look, you can see the group reset. 2 humans go to the center of the circle, holding one fist out each. The rest of the group takes an anticipatory position, looking on in intense excitement. This is it. If you win this, you win the whole pot. One of the onlookers was speaking closely to one competitor. How intriguing. A pot? A prize pot? You only have a boring, old, regular pot. A prize pot would be quite the upgrade. In fact, you can see it from here. An ornate box near the edge of the group. You want the pot. How do you try to get it? Join the competition last minute. Not sure if it's too late to join, but you figure it's getting later every passing second. Without another moment of delay, you run forward and implore them to let you join this mysterious ceremony. Humans share looks with each other, then words. You have to. I just want to win this thing and get it over with. Of course you would say that, Jeremony. I think a random mushroom lady showing up is a good curveball myself. Will she win? Surprise! But whatever, she can have it. It's not that good anyway. Finally, they seem to reach a decision. Yeah, you can play. One of them finally tells you, you know the rules of stone, scroll, shears, right? Unfortunately, you were forced to tell them that you do not know the rules they speak of. Thankfully, there are quick teachers. Tell you that a countdown is performed. At the end of the countdown, you must perform a hand sign for either stone, scroll, or shears. Stone can defeat shears. Scroll can defeat stone, and shears can defeat scroll. This all seems a little strange to you. This is the sort of game that you've not encountered before. It requires strange symbolic thinking, but it does seem to be a game of luck, at least. With the rules now in your grasp, you watch the final round. Perhaps this will teach you the necessary strategy, if there is one. The two final human competitors ready for their battle. 3. The audience begins to shout. The players whipping their fists back and forth in front of them. 2. In the last second, the glance of intensity is shared by both competitors. 1. The two throw their selection in front of them, one with a symbol you've been told means shears, and the other stone. Absolute man, stone. The crowd cheers and whoops excitedly. One of the players, the disgraced loser, mournfully re-enters the crowd. The winner, on the other hand, looks to you. Alright, stranger, let's see what you got. You're pushed to the middle of the circle. Barely a second of pause. The crowd begins shouting. 3. Oh no, what's 1? 2. You have to think quick. Run. And as they scrolls, kick them, take the chest, and run. That's an option. With that thought, you look down and see what your hand has selected and the outcome for you. The crowd is silent as they gauge the situation, determining the winner. Finally, after a second of shock, both you and the crowd realize the results. The opponent proudly presents their hand, shears. Oh, that's bad, isn't it? The crowd is silent in disappointment. This time we're going to recruit a stone scroll shears champion to come kick your ass, Jeremy. And the team states plainly. It seems you're not the champion they were hoping for. Your opponent, on the other hand, seems ecstatic. They jump up and down gleefully, finally running to the prize chest. Mine, all mine, they cried, tearing open the lid to reveal snacks. You thought the prize was the pot, whatever. It really doesn't matter to you anymore. Little fanfare, you simply decide it's best to leave. As you go to do so, you feel something soft hit the back of your head. Better look next time, little girl. Opponent shouts at you, looking down. You see a single chunk of nougat lying on the ground. I suppose this is your share? After hitting the ground, the nugget has acquired a fine dusting of dirt. Thankfully, that's A-okay with you. You look away, disappointed to lose a game, but happy to have a little walking treat at least. A chilling breeze meets you one morning, heralding the approach of winter. End of the year approaches, and you find yourself considering your aspirations. You want to accomplish something significant, you decide, something you'll remember. And a dangerous quest. For your troubles, you've been told this in particularly challenging quests. Possible tests of your merit. It seems like a good place to save. Gonna play something else pretty soon here. Maybe some Oblivion or Fortnite, Dwarf Fortress, something. But thanks for watching. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Bye.